and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. I almost use this hand. It's always like this, but I got it right. So, hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today I'm going to talk for the first time in this series about Soundgarden. And you know what that means when I talk about a band for the first time. I expand a little bit. I give my history with the band. I did do their whole discography like 4 or 5 years ago. I think when the pandemic started, I went through some discographies of some bands. Soundgarden was one of them. I did do that. But today I'm going to focus today on this series and for the first time for one specific album. That album is Badmotorfinger, which is right here. And before I get to that, the reason I'm talking about Badmotorfinger today, I got this some time ago, probably last year, again, when I was buying all those records, and I still have many that I haven't talked about that I will get to. The reason that I finally chose to do Soundgarden Badmotorfinger today is they're on my mind these days because recently, now for me today is Tuesday, December 17th. Yeah, December 17th today. And this won't be up probably until next week because I have a couple more in the queue that I've got ready to go for later this week. But last weekend, which was I think Saturday, whatever that was, December 14th, I think that was, or Friday the 13th, I'm not sure when it was. Soundgarden for the first time in 14 years, I think it was, is that right? 14 years? Is it? No, it can't be that long. I don't know, it's a long time. Soundgarden kind of got back together, obviously minus Chris Cornell. He was absent. And so that's why Soundgarden was on my mind. Now, you may or may not know this. If you're watching this, it's probably because you like Soundgarden. I know Mike Pratt probably hates Soundgarden. I'm sure we've never talked about them, but I have no doubt that Mike Pratt hates Soundgarden. So this is a test to see, first of all, if I'm correct, and secondly, to see if he's watching. Mike, if you're watching, please leave a comment and tell me how right I am in predicting that you hate Soundgarden. So they did this show. It was a benefit show, and it was for kids something, or cancer, or pets, or dogs, or kids with illnesses, some kind of benefit. Good for them that they do that. And so Soundgarden with this woman, and I can't remember her name, and it was a brief set. I think they played 5 or 6 or 7 songs or something, but it was pretty cool. And they only announced it about a week before the show. And when I first read it, I thought, wow, Soundgarden is, it's not that they're getting back, it's not they're going to do a record or something. I thought, wow, pretty cool that they're playing together for the first time in many, many years. Chris Cornell died in 2016, I think, and maybe it had been a few years before they played a show together. And then when I continued to read and saw that it was going to be this woman, and her name was Shania, I think, something like that. Shepherd, I know her name is something like that. And I immediately, as quickly as I gained interest and was excited, I lost interest. Now, nothing against the fairer gender, but I don't want to hear a woman singing Soundgarden songs. I think that's, without even knowing this woman, anything about her, hearing her voice, I just thought, when bands change singers, usually, I think for me, for sure, and for most people, the singer is how you identify the band. The singer is usually the make or break. If you love a band, sometimes, I love this music, but the singer sucks. Or, most people don't say, I hate the music, but I love the singer, although that could happen too. But, I mean, Chris Cornell is obviously the voice of Soundgarden, and I don't think he's irreplaceable. But I don't think he should be replaced by, God, this sounds horrible. As I was thinking of it, it sounded perfectly fine. But now as I'm verbalizing it, I realize it probably sounds horrible. But I don't know how else to say it. I don't really want to hear a woman sing a Soundgarden song, or any Soundgarden songs. That's not to say that some of them can't, or that women can't sing this music, because, as I was talking about with my friend Kevin Montavon the other day about this Soundgarden thing, Ann Wilson, Ann and Nancy Wilson did the Led Zeppelin tribute 10 years ago or something. And they sang, I don't know what songs they did, but Stairway to Heaven for sure. And man, Ann Wilson singing Stairway to Heaven was one of the greatest things ever. Next to Led Zeppelin, that's the best you're ever going to hear anybody do Led Zeppelin. So I'm not against that, but I just thought, they got a woman to do it. I hate this word. I'm going to use a word here that I hate, but I have to first of all preface it. I hate the word because it's a word that everybody uses just for something that they don't like. It has the word came very quickly and then it lost its meaning so quickly because people overused and misused it. And that word is woke. I hate when everybody blames everything on woke, that this happened, why? Because of woke, and this didn't happen, why? Because of woke. But I have to say, and I don't want to use the word, although I am using it, for me, Soundgarden, and I love Soundgarden, man, they not just their music, but for them as people, lyrically, and for them individually, and I think collectively as a group, they're great. I think they're great social people. So I don't want to say social justice warriors, but I like what they stand for. They're very, very open-minded, and I think that's reflected in their music and their lyrics. And I really like that. But I think this time they were going a little bit overboard. I don't know what the decision-making process with getting this woman to sing for them. God, this is going to be long. I don't know what they were thinking, but I just thought, it's like, look at us. Hey, everybody, look at us. We're Soundgarden. We're open to everybody, so we're going to get a woman. And like I said, I lost interest when I saw that it was a woman, but I was still interested to hear how she did. And I watched the video, and I watched the whole video. They did, as I said, 6 or 7 songs. And I didn't like her at all. Not at all. Everything about her was not suited or was inappropriate for, it's cold today, man. I got to start wearing my winter clothes. She was just her voice, her stage presence, her stage banter even. I thought everything about her was inappropriate or just unsuitable for Soundgarden. And I hope that this is not going to be a thing. It's not like Soundgarden is getting back together with this woman as a singer. I think she's just a local woman from Seattle. And maybe she sounds great singing. I don't know if she does her own material or if she does other people's material. Maybe that sounds great. But I just really, really didn't care for her singing these Soundgarden songs. So that's what brought to mind. I thought, that reminds me. Now's a good time to do Soundgarden, Badmotorfinger, which is a really, really, really top favorite of mine. I can't say it's like an all-time favorite because for me that goes back to, you have to be really young maybe I'm taking this too literally to do that. And this album, Badmotorfinger, came out when I was 21. But in terms of the joy that an album or the music can bring me by listening to it, Badmotorfinger is up there with anything. I love Badmotorfinger. So about my history with Soundgarden, I discovered them, as far as I can remember, in 1989. I had a friend, this guy called Don Robinson. He was a good friend of mine, and we liked a lot of the same kind of music. And he called me one day and he said, "Oh man, you got to come over." And this is, pre-social media, pre-internet, obviously. And he said, "You got to come over to my house and listen to this band called Soundgarden." And I think he had taped, I don't know if the video for Loud Love had been on Much Music or something, or if he had the CD or something, but he said, "Come over to my house, you got to hear this band." So, and I trusted his opinion musically. And so I went over there. Now, when he called me or when he told me, I said, "What is the band called?" I thought he'd said Soundguard, like a guard, like Guard. And then when I got there, I discovered that it was Soundgarden. I thought Soundguard was a pretty cool name for bands, like they're guarding the sound. And then I thought Soundgarden was even better. And I still think it's great. And it doesn't put them in some bands that have a name that's Slayer. You can't play any other kind of music except thrash metal if your name is Slayer. But Soundgarden could be a great name for any band. It's not restricted to the kind of music that Soundgarden play. I love the name Soundgarden. And so I bought, shortly after that, I guess I bought Louder. The song was Loud Love. The album was called Louder Than Love. I bought that. And I wasn't a huge fan at the time, although I did like them a lot. But it was Badmotorfinger that elevated them to one of my really, really, really top bands. So much better for me. And they had some records before Louder Than Love. Never get into those until later. But Badmotorfinger is the one that really, really took, for me and many people, took Soundgarden to the next level. And I think, and when I guess I talked about this when I did their discography 4 or 5 years ago. Soundgarden should have never been, most people talk about bands, they should have been bigger. Soundgarden should not have been as big as they were. And I'm not saying that because they're bad. They're one of my, I would say they're maybe my top 10 favorite bands. I don't have a list, but I think they're a fucking awesome band. I love Soundgarden, but they're just such a weird band. Their songs are not, with a few exceptions, maybe by the time they got to Super Unknown, their music became a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here. Their music became more, not commercial, catchier, not more palatable as I choke to death. Their music became more palatable on Super Unknown, but by the 3 previous albums to this, which were Louder Than Love, well, they had the Screaming Life, FOP, that EP thing, whatever it was, Ultra Mega OK, and Badmotorfinger. Soundgarden was undeniably a metal band. They were not your dad's heavy metal, or who, I mean, my dad doesn't listen to heavy metal. They were not the heavy metal of my youth. They weren't like Diamond Head or Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, maybe a little bit like Black Sabbath. They weren't traditional heavy metal, but they were definitely not. Forget about grunge. This was before the term grunge came around. The word grunge didn't exist when well, it existed, but it wasn't used to describe music. I invented grunge, the word grunge. Groceries, like groceries. That's my word. Bacon, lettuce, tomato, apples. That's what I use. Groceries, grunge. And to me, Soundgarden in 1989 and 1991, they were a metal band. They weren't hair metal, they weren't thrash metal, they weren't traditional metal, but they were definitely metal. They appealed to metalheads, although they had a very strange look. They didn't look like a metal band, but man, their music was very heavy. Live, I did see them 3 times. I saw them in 90... When did I see them for the first time? 92, 93, and then not again until 2013 when they played in Mexico City. And I have some props here. Some good ones. Look at this great poster. And maybe it's time that I change something up a little bit. I got so many posters, and this one is all framed and ready to go. I did have it hanging on my wall at some point, but this is from the if you can see here, the Mexico City show. This was May 1st, 2013 at Palacio de los Deportes. It's a great poster, no? And I almost didn't go to this show. It was I was having some financial difficulties at that time, as I have a tendency to have, living in Mexico, and I couldn't afford a ticket or couldn't, really justify buying a ticket, so I wasn't going to go. And then the day before, my friend Francisco called me and he said, I've got free tickets. I think he had like 6 tickets to Soundgarden, and he said, do you want to go? I said, yeah, for sure. And I can't remember how he got them, but I went there. This became, and still is, one of my favorite concerts ever. Ah, man, I can't believe this again took my Soundgarden fandom to the next level, just like Badmotorfinger brought me, I liked them at Louder Than Love, liked them way more after Badmotorfinger. Super Unknown was, riding around the same. Down on the upside, I kind of lost track of Soundgarden a little bit when when King Animal came out in 2012, I think that was. I love that album. And then seeing them live on this tour at Palacio de los Deportes again took them to the next level. That's a bold statement for me to say that Soundgarden was one of my favorite, top 10 probably concerts ever. And I've seen hundreds. And amazing. Now the other prop is, I also got from that show, I got the set list. I think I got it from at the soundboard, the front of house, whatever, the console back there. And there it is. And man, this is, it was, I think, how many songs? Looks like about 25, 26, 27 songs. That's why I like it. That's why I say Pearl Jam is the greatest band ever. I like bands that play long concerts, that change the set list every night. I think that's the sign of a great band. I'm going to read it. Searching with My Good Eye Closed, Spoon Man, Jesus Christ Pose, Rhinosaur, Burden in My Hand, My Wave, The Day I Tried to Live, I've Been Away Too Long, Never the Machine, Forever, Hunted Down, Drawing Flies, Non-State Actor, Loud Love, Mailman, Tari, Outshine, Super Unknown, New Damage, 1,000 Days Before, Fell on Black Days, Blow Up the Outside World, Rusty Cage, I Awake, like Suicide, Black Hole Sun, and this. I Awake, I remember, was not played. They dropped I Awake, and instead they played Flower, which I was happy about. And they had listed Beyond the Wheel and Slaves and Bulldozers. Far beyond the road. And they did play Slaves and Bulldozers. Amazing concert. I loved it. So that's my Soundgarden history. I think I'm ready. Finally, how long has this been? Let me take a look. Let me disappear for a second. You can still hear my voice. Oh my God, we're at almost 16 minutes now. All right, so it's finally time to get to the track by track. I'm sure you're all very excited about that. So here it is. Ah, no, sorry, one more prop. I do have the CD. I got this CD, and this is one of the rare times that I did check. This album came out. I wasn't sure when this was released. I did check it on Wikipedia. I don't like checking Wikipedia before I do these episodes. I don't want to just say this was produced by blah 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 and just nah. But I did check. This came out October 8th, 1991. I bought it October 30th, 1991, which is the day that I saw Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Smashing Pumpkins all together that day. So I did for sure buy this earlier in the day, I guess in the afternoon, and then went to see Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, Smashing Pumpkins. This was the time when music was really, really shifting, and that was the kind of music I was into, except Smashing Pumpkins. I think that band sucks. And I know Mike Pratt hates Smashing Pumpkins. If I hate a band like that, Mike Pratt hates them even more. So I will get to the record of Badmotorfinger, and it's I'm surprised this isn't a double record, because there was, obviously I didn't have it on I didn't have the record at the time. This album is pretty close to an hour, I guess, and it's only a single record, so I guess maybe it's really, really compressed. Anyway, I will open it. By the way, I got this shirt this is one of the oldest shirts I have. This is I got this shirt when I saw them in 2013. It is, of course, a bootleg. And I have a video if you're interested. I did, even back then, and 10 years before that, I was doing the bootleg merch tours. You can go back and look at I think I did one. I must have. Remember, I saw Soundgarden's crew out there at the bootleg merch stands, buying all kinds of stuff, and they were using walkie-talkies. This indicates walkie-talkie. A phone will be just like this, but walkie-talkie, I think you gotta go like this. They were communicating with the band. I could hear them saying, the guy, I'm gonna poke myself in the eye if I do that. So the guy in the walkie-talkie from the crew is saying, yeah, they got these shirts with this design in black and white and blah, blah, blah. And then they were saying, okay, give me 2 of those ones and 3 of this, and get me some coffee cups and things like that. I think that's on video, I'm not sure. So I will open this up and see, there's no hype sticker on here. Oh, and disappointing to see that there are no lyrics in here. I mean, I guess I don't need them. The lyrics are in the CD, and I'm quite familiar with the lyrics anyway. Very, very. Is there anything else inside there? Very disappointing. Very disappointing. It's just regular, just a plain white sleeve. No hype sticker, no poster, no lyrics, no photos. Just regular plain black vinyl. Very disappointing. And I remember the CD. I hated this at the time. I liked the fact that it had lyrics. But man, those lyrics were hard to read, to follow along with, because it was this huge, this is like an accordion. Look at this. It's like one of those, remember those old road maps before Google Maps? When you had to do this? Look at how long that is. And the lyrics were, those are the lyrics. So to read the lyrics, yeah, they started here and then they went across like this. And it was very difficult. And unpleasant. That's very disappointing packaging. Anyway, as I said, I'm quite familiar with the lyrics. Don't need them, but it's a nice touch. And how much effort does it take to put some lyrics in your fucking record, huh? All right, I'll take this this plastic off as well. If things weren't at a crawl before, they surely are now. Why did I do this? I kill myself. All right, there it is. If you don't want the shine from the cellophane, that's what it looks like. All right. So the first track is Rusty Cage. And every song on this album, I love. How can I say this? There are, I don't know how many songs, 11 or 12. It's very difficult to pick my favorite. There are about, I would say there are maybe three that were never my favorite at any point, but probably all the other songs at some point or another were my favorite. So hard to pick a favorite. But Rusty Cage is one of them. And, you know, Chris Cornell, I maybe didn't realize it at the time, he wrote some of the greatest lyrics ever. And I think a lot of his lyrics, they were very weird, just very abstract. I don't know what he was singing about, but they just, his words sounded good together, especially when he was singing it. And Rusty Cage, it starts with that great and such a weird sound. And I don't know if I completed my thought earlier about why Soundgarden shouldn't have been as big as they were. They just had a weird sound. Their music wasn't, I did talk about this. It wasn't palatable. It was just kind of grating, kind of even annoying. I mean, not to me, I loved it. But they're the kind of band that people go, I can understand if people hate Soundgarden. I don't, I love them, but I can understand that. So Rusty Cage had that guitar, is it a riff? That sounds horrible. I can't sing guitar. And then it comes in and it's crashing, and it's kind of heavy and it's fast. And the lyrics are, you wired me awake and hit me with a hand of broken nails. You tied my lead and pulled my chain and watched my blood begin to boil. What I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. Too cold to start a fire, I'm burning diesel, burning dinosaur bones. I'll take the river down to Stillwater and ride a pack of dogs, but I'm gonna break. And then that real heavy, that's a real metal part. The middle part, what part am I thinking of? Hits like a Phillips head inside my brain. It's gonna be too dark to sleep again. And then it slows down, it gets heavy, and it's got that great Soundgarden, kind of a little bit of a stop and go thing. When the forest burns along the road. No, what is the first line of that? When the forest burns along the road. And like God's eyes in my headlights. Oh, it is. I got it right. When the forest burns along the road like God's eyes in my headlight. When the dogs are looking for their bones. Now it's raining ice picks on your steel shore. Well, I'm going to break. Man, Rusty Cage is just incredible. I never ever got sick of that song. I listened to it obsessively. I still listen to, I listen to this album in full probably a couple times a year. But Rusty Cage, I listen to a lot. Really a lot. I love Rusty Cage. Next is Outshined. And this is one that I always did also love. But when they played it this night, when I saw them in Mexico City in 2013, the crowd was totally into it, which made me enjoy it more. This was kind of a hit from this album. It had the line that it seems everybody likes is looking California, feeling Minnesota. What is the opening line? I got up feeling so down. I got up being sold out. I kept the movie rolling, but the story's getting old now. Oh yeah, damn. So now you know who gets hypnotized. Show me the power, child. I'd like to say that I'm down on my knees again. Yeah, it gives me the butterflies, gives me away till I'm up on my feet again. I'm feeling outshined. Love that song. Next is Slaves and Bulldozers. This has become, I guess, or it became at some point, kind of like their signature song. God, this song is so, and I never really liked the song too much, again, until I saw them live. I think that's why I consider this concert to be so great for me, one of my favorites, is it really boosted so many Soundgarden songs that I knew and liked. After this concert, I knew and loved. And so they closed with Slaves and Bulldozers this night, as I think they did a lot of their shows. And God, it's so slow and heavy and doomy. Every word I said is what I mean. Every word I said is what I mean. Dirty, virgin eyes and dirty looks. Now I know what you've been. Now I know why you've been taken. Now I know why you've been taken. And he's screaming that. And this song it's long. I think it's probably somewhere around 7 minutes. I love the song so much more now than I did when this came out in 91, 92, 93. Slaves and Bulldozers is a masterpiece. Next is it Jesus Christ Pose? I think it is. Jesus Christ Pose. Right off the start, I'm going to say it's one of the greatest songs ever. It's not necessarily my favorite on the album, but this is just such a weird song. This song has no business, and I'm sure I talked about this when I did their discography 5 years ago. This was a borderline hit. I don't remember ever hearing it on the radio, but God, the video was played a lot back then. But just there's no business for this song being a hit. It's first of all, it's called Jesus Christ Pose, and anything with any kind of religious overtones is generally not going to be brought to the masses. And musically, this is one of the ones that I mentioned earlier that it's annoying or it's grating to listen to. To me, it's the dulcet tones of Jesus Christ Pose, but for some people, it's a very harsh, grating, obnoxious, irritating song. But oh my God, it's just the best, and it's just this is a Matt Cameron, showcase for him. This song is really about Matt Cameron, although everything about this song is great. There's no breaks in the song. It's very fast driving. Matt Cameron is driving this song the whole way through. There's no breaks. There's no change in pace. It maintains the same pace, the same beat and rhythm the whole way through. And it's just so heavy. Again, the song has no business being, or had no business being a hit. And it's got that again, that tweedly deedly wheedly wheelie guitar, kind of going back and forth with the in the introduction before the vocals come in, just that big droning down, and then the other guitar is down, and then it just after that it's heavy and heavy. I feel like Beavis and Butthead here talking about this, but just that, and then it goes into the that kind of rumbling before it gets into the and you stare at me in your Jesus Christ pose, arms held out in your Jesus Christ pose, arms held out in your Jesus Christ pose. Oh God, how can I forget the lyrics to this? How embarrassing. And you stare at me in your Jesus Christ pose, arms held out in your Jesus Christ pose, like you've been carrying a load, and I swear to you, I don't want to feed you pain, but you're staring at me like I need to be saved in your Jesus Christ pose, arms held out in your Jesus Christ pose, thorns and shroud like it's the coming of the Lord, and I swear to you, I would never feed you pain, but you're staring at me like I'm driving the nails. And what's the great part in lyrically? The great part in Jesus Christ pose? Oh my God! It's kind of in the middle part. It wouldn't pain me more. Well, would it? It's kind of a spoken word part. Would it pain you more to walk on water than to wear a crown of thorns? It wouldn't pain me more. It wouldn't pain me more to bury you rich than to bury you poor. And the drums and everything is just nonstop. Jesus Christ pose is unreal song. For me, it should be considered one of the greatest songs ever. Oh my God, Jesus Christ pose. Next is Face Pollution. This is a kind of a continuation. I mean, it sounds nothing like Jesus Christ pose, but just hammering you. Face Pollution. And they did this at this show that they did on the weekend. I think Duff McKagan sang on this one along with that woman, Shina or Shania, whatever. Shayna, I think is her name. Shina. Face Pollution is just so fast, a little bit, almost even thrashy. Not thrash metal, but thrashy, kind of punky. It's fast, heavy, aggressive. Face Pollution. What are the lyrics here in Face Pollution? While I'm counting, I count it on my fingers. I've got all my reasons not to feel. I'm numb as rigor mortis. I'm numb as rigor mortis. I don't feel like feeling. I don't feel like feeling. Feeling like you. Now I'm in the mirror. Now it's getting clear. Yeah, Face Pollution, man. Maybe not a typical Soundgarden song. They have a tendency maybe to be slower and heavier, but Face Pollution is just a driving, fast, heavy, thrashy, punky song. Next, what comes after Face Pollution is I have to check. It's got to be a great one. It's somewhere. This is one that this was never a favorite. I do like it a lot, but I could say, this was my favorite for 6 months, and this was my favorite for a couple of weeks. Somewhere I don't think at any point was my favorite. I love, this is maybe one of his great Chris Cornell's great vocal deliveries. It starts with him, singing right away. I wish to wish, I dream to dream. I wish to wish, and his voice keeps, I wish to wish, I dream to dream. I try to die, God. I'm blowing it. I wish to wish, I dream to dream. I try to try, I live to live, I die to die, and I die to cry, and I cry to cry. And his voice just builds in intensity. That one's, it's a good song. Somewhere in my dreams. Good song, but just not a favorite. Next is Searching with My Good Eye Closed. Maybe, despite what I just said about Jesus Christ Pose, Searching with My Good Eye Closed has maybe become my favorite song on this album. And maybe it's my favorite song on the album for sure. Maybe my favorite Soundgarden song. Partially again because they open with it. Searching with My Good Eye Closed. And this is one of the things that was great about Soundgarden. This is not a typical opening song for a band, a metal band or a rock band, someone that likes Soundgarden. Because it's not a fast, it's not like Jesus Christ Pose or Face Pollution. It's kind of a little bit slower, quieter, a little bit, I don't know, not a typical opening song, but man, I love that song. It's got the great narration at the beginning by, I don't know who does it. I'm sure it's not anybody in the band. This is my good eye. This is not the lyrics. It's a voiceover. This is my good eye. Do you hear a cow? A rooster says, and then you hear the cock-a-doodle-doo. A pig says, and then the devil says, and it builds up and it gets very, very intense, and that comes in. Painted blue across my eyes, tie the linen on, and I'm on my way. Looking for a paradigm so I can pass it off, and I'm on my way. Is it to the sky? Is it to the sky? And I was, for years and years, I thought it was searching for a friend with my good eye closed. And then some years ago, I discovered that it was searching for the ground with my good eye closed. I don't know what that means, but I like it. And maybe the great thing about this song that I never really paid attention to in 1991, and maybe only rediscovered after I saw them in 2013, at the end of Searching with My Good Eye Closed, in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, when the song kind of ends and it just kind of continues, and it's kind of long, it's maybe 6 or 7 minutes, Cornell is just wailing. He's just, it's like, he's not singing words, he's just like, oh yeah, woo, and just screaming and wailing. I guess he just went into the studio, obviously when the song was done, he just overdubbed all these, vocals, just layered them all over. Incredible. Just maybe the best singer ever, I think. He's not necessarily my favorite, but over the years, I think I've realized that Chris Cornell should be considered objectively as the greatest singer ever. That's what I think. Next is Room 1,000 Years Wide. This was another one that I don't think was ever my favorite. I think because they say begat, and I still don't really know what begat means. Tomorrow, begat, tomorrow. I guess tomorrow, begat, tomorrow. It's like, I know they say like this, for example, violence begats violence, or happiness begats happiness. I guess that this encourages, I know what the fuck begat means. But they say a lot in this song. And this was one, I think this was one of the few that was not written by Chris Cornell, I think musically or lyrically. Because I think he wrote almost all the music on this album and all the lyrics except maybe on 2 songs. And I think Room 1,000 Years Wide was written by Kim Thayil, maybe? I don't know. But I do like I said, I like every song on this album. What was that? Room 1,000 Years Wide. Next, maybe I should keep that out. This sucks. I feel like I'm losing control here. Next is Mind Right. Now, there was definitely a time. This is probably the first song that was my favorite. This was an obsessive song for me. I love that this is kind of and I think this was written, I'm almost positive musically. Was it written by Matt Cameron? I think it was. I'm not sure, but Mind Right is kind of a quiet, it's maybe the quietest song on the album. Definitely not a ballad, but it is definitely quiet. What's the opening line of Mind Right? Why do I always feel I have to recite the lyrics? I was slipping through the cracks of a stolen jewel. I was tightrope walking in 2-ton shoes. I was tightrope walking in 2-ton shoes. Oh man, I suck at lyrics. When I listen to these songs, I'm singing along. Poorly, I might add. Now somebody's talking to Third World War. And the police said this was normal control. I've been caught in a mind riot. Candles burned yesterday. Somebody's best friend died. I've been caught in a mind riot. And then the next verse is, it's so great. Again, just brings such images to mind. I built an elevator from his bones, and I sharpened my wits on a dead man's skull. I was crying through my eye. I was crying through my eye teeth, bleeding from my soul. I sharpened my wits on a dead man's skull. I built an elevator from his bones. What comes after that? I had to climb to the top floor just to stamp out the coals. Yeah, Mind Riot. Still, maybe it's my, pick a number. Let's say it's my 3rd favorite on Badmotorfinger. Next is Drawing Flies. Kim Thayil, you know what? He calls it Drawing Flies or Drawing Flies. I guess that's supposed to be like a British accent. Soundgarden did a concert video from this tour, and Chris Cornell introduces this as Drawing Flies because he said that's how Kim Thayil introduced it. That stuck with me. This is another one, and it's kind of in the same vein as Face Pollution. It's fast, it's short, it's around 2.5 minutes. It's maybe not what you would expect from Soundgarden, and they had some great ones on Super Unknown too. Kickstand was like that. Kickstand, you got loose and filled my cup. I'm not gonna start quoting Super Unknown lyrics. I'm having a hard enough time with Badmotorfinger. You know what? I'm gonna put that down and let's look at the record. Drawing Flies. Sitting here like uninvited company, wallowing in my own obscenity. I share a cigarette with negativity. Sitting here like wet ashes with X's in my eyes and drawing flies. I don't know what any of those things mean, but they just sound so good when you put those words together. Next is Holy Water. This one, again, I do like it, but it was never a favorite. Cool lyrics again. This is holy water in my brain. Holy water on my brain and I can't sleep. Holy water on the nightstand while I sleep. Is that what it is? Something like that? Holy water in my brain and I can't sleep. I think I got that right. Holy Bible, of course. Holy Bible on the nightstand next to me. Yeah. As I'm raped by another monkey circus freak. I don't know what that means. As I'm raped by another monkey circus freak. So I do like Holy Water, but not a favorite. And did they play that? No, they didn't play that when I saw them. I'm looking at the set list here. And the last one is New Damage. This is probably always and still is now. And as I listened to this album earlier today, or yesterday, I think I listened to it. New Damage was and still is my least favorite, which is kind of disappointing when it's the last song on the album. again, I do like it, but it was just never one that I got into like all the other ones. And what are the lyrics for? Why am I so obsessed with lyrics? Yeah, when new damage comes, it's a new faceless poison. The wreck is going down. The wreck is going down. Yeah, pretty good song. If it were on, and if it had been on another, maybe if it had been on, I don't know, Ultra Mega OK, maybe it would have been my favorite, because I'm not too keen on that. But maybe by the time you listen to the 12th song on Badmotorfinger, you're a little bit tired. I talked about that recently with Saint Anger and also with Brave New World, that by the time you get to the last song or two, or maybe three, your ears are maybe a little bit tired, and those songs maybe would have sounded better earlier in the album. And maybe New Damage was like that too. So that's all. I know this was probably a pretty long one, and I feel like I blew it. Sometimes I've talked about this. For me, sometimes the best albums are the ones that are the most difficult to talk about. And let me take a poll. Should I do notes? I know nobody's watching at this point. Is it better when I do notes or when I just wing it like this? The notes are more work physically because I have to sit and write and pay attention, but it's easily mentally because I don't have to sit here and stammer like an idiot. I feel this feels more natural. Do you have a preference? I'm not saying that I'm gonna do what you say, but this is market research, I think they call it. Oh my God, why does anybody watch these videos? I understand why ratings are down. Anyway, so there it is. This is, if you like it on a shirt, here it is. And if you like it on an album, here it is. And give it to me, man. This is such a great album. It's Soundgarden, Badmotorfinger.